All right, welcome everyone. My name is Abhishek, and so sorry to keep you waiting. I was one giving some time to others to join, and other I was sorting something out on my end as well. Now let's get started. So, purpose of this session is I have been doing few sessions around OINP, around Express Entry, trying to put things in perspective around what is OINP, what is Express Entry, and how do they differ from each other. But this one is slightly different. Okay, why is this different? So this is different because this session I really talk about the eligibility criteria. I'll talk about there may be some folks sitting with the ITA for all the invitations that have been going out. So I'll try and suggest things I can try and walk them through the process from here on that may help them submit the application if they intend to do it themselves. So that's the idea of this section, to focus on one, the eligibility for different streams, two, the what happens when you get the invitation to apply. We can look at some draws as well, and then three, that can be two, and then three can be that what happens once you get the ITA, that what's the documentation process, what's the immigration process in general, because most of you people don't even know that when it comes to OINP EOI, it's a non-express entry process, meaning you are not getting 600 points in your express entry profile. Once you get the nomination, you have to submit your PR application under a non-express entry portal. Once you get nomination through OINP EOI stream, which is the only active stream right now. Other streams, there have been no draws for. Express entry streams, there have been no draws for almost a year and a half now. And EOI streams, all of those are non-express entry streams. So again, I won't touch too much into, like I said, express entry versus OINP, which I have done in my past sessions. In this session, I'll really keep focusing on the OINP itself. Okay, let me just pick up some whiteboard from one of the previous meetings. So let's get started. So Ankur, today we are doing this, I'm sure you would have caught up. But this webinar on OINP, where we are now focusing on OINP versus our previous webinars where we have been focusing on express entry in conjunction with OINP. What does that
Right.
and how does that look like? This time I really want to stay focused on OINP because of all the number of draws that have happened. Because I think my personal opinion is that OINP is doing this lot of draws. I think they have already called about 12,000 people. I'm not wrong. And their quota was about 15,000 people. So I think we may be looking at a longer pause post May, okay, once they are, because they are intending to change their system as well, right? As much as you will, or if all of you are not aware, yes, they are intending to change their systems, change the eligibility. So there is a possibility that we may see a longer pause for a few months after the spurge of draws that is happening at this point in time. So could there be more draws? Who knows? Yes, there is possibility that there could be few more draws as well. But yes, I think at somewhere in May, those draws will stop and we may then see a long break and pause as far as OINP goes. So again, it's just a prediction, not saying that you should not have your profiles in, even if it is later in the May. Okay, absolutely. Whoever is getting the opportunity with the employer, make sure you are getting your profiles in. All right. So I was just intending to share some whiteboard I have used in past. Give me a moment. And for people who don't know me, let me give my quick introduction. My name is Abhishek Jain. I am an RCIC and a director at Amica Immigration. We do these weekly webinars, sometimes on Saturday, sometimes on Sunday, sometimes both on Saturday and Sunday. And the purpose of this webinar is purely to impart knowledge, meaning that no question is off table. I'll really appreciate if people stick to the topic at hand. But even then, if someone has some question, this is a platform. Feel free to ask. Keep it short, long answers, because make sure that your questions, of course, they will be specific to you, but also they are in interest of larger audience here. And yeah, so basically, yeah, the session is for imparting knowledge, no promotions, purely knowledge. So take as much knowledge as you can out of it, and hope it will help you.
Abhishek, we have first question actually, start of the session.
Okay.
It says what's the cutoff of invitation for this year under OINP?
This is a very, very broad question. And if you are asking that questions, likely chances are you don't understand how OINP works. Okay, so there is no cutoff like express entry. I mean, there is cutoff, but point is that OINP EOI, which is what we'll keep focusing on. Again, I'm repeating, I'm not talking about OINP express entry streams because there is no active draw going on for them. Okay, so I'm only talking about OINP EOI streams. And to answer that question, each OINP stream has its own points. It has its own structure based on which you get the points. So meanings, first of all, what you have to understand is, and it's a relevant question, don't get me wrong, okay? Just that it's a very broad question and I'll try and answer in few, and it's relevant to everyone. So first of all, each OINP as it stands right now, and this may change in future, like OINP International Student Stream has its own points breakdown. OINP Foreign Worker Stream has its own breakdown. OINP Master Graduate Stream, PhD Stream have their own breakdown. OINP in-demand skill stream have their own breakdown. Okay, so each of these streams have their own breakdowns. So meaning that you have to create a separate profile in each one of these streams if you are eligible for more than one stream. Each one of these streams have their own eligibility criteria as well. So, and if you are now eligible in these multiple streams, you need separate profiles. You can get an invitation in separate profiles too. And now, so that's the first part you have to understand, that the OINP EOI is separated by these streams, and the draws will be conducted for that specific stream, meaning international student stream will have its own draw. Foreign worker stream will have its own draw. In-demand skill stream will have its own draw. Master graduate, PhD graduate, they will have their own draws. So we are looking at multiple draws first. Now, second important aspect, or there are two more important aspects to it. One, location. Other is knock code. So how OINP does is, OINP does not say that you are an international student, I am calling 1,000 international students with the top score. That's not how OINP functions, OINP EOI functions. How OINP EOI functions is that they will tell us that, okay, for this specific region and for these list of knock codes, I am conducting the draw. And then there would be a subpool that will be created and draw will be conducted on that. So if I tell you that cutoff for international student stream is 62, it means nothing. Okay, what you really need to understand is what is your knock code. Okay, and then you have to look through that. What was the last draw that happened for your knock code? Third thing you need to look at, like I said, is the region, because the draws are usually region based. They can be within GTA, outside GTA, ready regions. They can just Eastern Ontario, Southern Ontario, excluding GTA. There can be, they are structuring these draws in a very varied manner right now. If you look at this year's draw, you will see they're all over the place with regards to knock codes, with regards to the regions they are choosing. So if I tell you cutoff is 62 means it has no meaning at all in context of OINP EOI. Okay, you really need to associate the context with regards to the knock code, with regards to the region, and then see that for your knock code, for the region, what are the draws that are happening. Apparently there was only one draw, and this is the draw which has happened, I don't even know, in probably 2 years, where there were no knock codes associated with master graduate stream. Okay, again, there have been no master graduate stream draws for a long time. We had one last month, but it had certain knock codes associated. But just last week we had a OINP master graduate stream draw where they had no knock codes associated for the first time. So just for that draw, yes, you can take in context that for master graduate stream, this is the cutoff. Just giving an example, I know a lot of information. I hope you are able to absorb some of it, if not all of it. I know it was a long answer, but it was a very important question, because I'm sure if that's a question that not many people understand answer to. Even now, you may not understand everything. I suggest and implore you to go to the OINP website, go to that update page for OINP and see how these draws are structured, and you will get your answer. You will be able to put context to those things that you see on the screen with the words that I am suggesting. Okay, that put things in perspective. Score means stream for the score, knock code, region. Put three in perspective and then see where you stand. So let's start talking about streams and eligibility first, and then we'll take some pause, we'll take some questions. We'll then talk about these draws. Anyway, I think it may answer some of the questions in itself. We'll take some break, take some questions, and then we'll talk about the last part of the steps after the ITA. Okay, so that way we'll have 2 or 3 sessions where we can take the questions. I will extend this session a little bit. It started late, and also I'll try and accommodate all the questions to a certain point. Very briefly, for everyone who has not been exposed to this idea and all, and only just starting out, that this is the box we are talking about. So we are not talking about express entry today. We are only talking about the OINP EOI system. We are not talking about OINP express entry stream. So anyone who thinks human capital priority, skilled trades, for which those 2,500 applications were returned. There were French focus stream for express entry for OINP. We are not talking about those today. This is the only part we are focusing on for today. Okay, so what are we focusing on? So here it is. So how does the process begin? Okay, so the applicant, first step is for applicant to talk to their employer and get their go ahead, because except for master graduate stream, so this is where you will see all the streams that are listed. Okay, except for master graduate stream, meaning that if you have passed out from the qualifying institution in past 2 years, that you can create your profile yourself. Except for that, all the other 3 streams, international student stream, foreign worker stream, in-demand skill stream, they need your employer to submit the employer offer in your job offer in the OINP portal first. So that's the first step that happens. That employer goes ahead and submits the job offer for you, and that is where you need to find that agreement with your employer. But before that, of course, what you need to do is that you need need to find so first you need to find that alignment with your employer. So sometimes what happens, or most of the times what happens, is that employer themselves are not aware of, okay, we are ready to support you, but how do we support you? Which stream do you qualify? Okay, are you qualifying as an international student, foreign worker, or an in-demand, right? So first thing is that you need to establish your eligibility, and also we need to establish employer's eligibility. So to establish your own eligibility, you need to look at the specific, and I'll show you those pages after a while, but right now let's just stick to this at a higher level. You need to go through the specific pages for international student, meaning that you must have passed from the qualifying institution within Ontario or outside Ontario and within past 2 years, and you must still have a low wage in your NOC code. I'll show you how to check that. And then the third part is the foreign worker, and or if you qualify as foreign worker, meaning you have 2 years of experience in that NOC code inside or outside Canada in past 5 years. In-demand scale is for tier 4 and certain tier 4 and 5 NOC codes, that if you're working in that NOC code, have a median wage higher than median wage, you qualify in that one. Master graduate, like I said, if you qualify in certain streams, if you have passed out from certain institutions, you can create your profile on your own. You don't need any employer support. And so those are the 4 streams. So, but let's talk about the streams for which you need the support, right? So you check your eligibility, but also you have to check your employer's eligibility for the location at which job is being offered, meaning that for that location, that thing, sometimes company revenue is generic, so that can be taken away a little bit, that they need to have a revenue. If location is outside GTA, they must have the revenue of $500,000. If the company is located within, if the job offer is located within GTA, they need to have a revenue of $1 million. Second condition for employer is that they need to be in existence for 3 years. Third condition for the employer is that for outside GTA, they need to have 3 employees who are Canadian citizen or PR for that location. And for GTA job offer, that they need to have 5 employees who are Canadian citizen or PRs for the purpose of OINP, EOI. And this is true for all 3: international student, foreign worker, and in-demand skills. So moving on, that's the employer eligibility. So there is your eligibility, there is employer eligibility. If both of them match, then the process is that you talk to your employer will take some basic details from you, likely just your name and email ID. They will submit the job offer that they have for you in the OINP system. Once they do that, if your employer does not have a profile, they will need to go through certain steps to first create their profile to establish whether they are eligible or not. So once that is established, their profile is created, they can extend you the job offer. Once they extend you the job offer is when you will get an email. And once you get that email, based on that, you can create your account in OINP and then create your profile in OINP. And then what happens is that your profile sits there in OINP, and then we wait for the ITA, meaning we wait for the invitation to apply from the OINP. So this is what this flowchart means. So I hope this was clear enough for everybody so that I can do a little bit deeper dive into the eligibility of each of these streams. Any questions specific to this area, Ankur, I'm happy to take, or else I'll first like to talk about the eligibility itself for each stream before moving on to the broader.
Yeah, actually, Abhishek, there was one. It says that are there OINP streams that does not require employer support registration, and if available, which stream? Yes.
So there were these streams. There were these streams, ExpressEntry streams, which did not require employer support, but there has been no draw for a year and a half, like I've repeated few times. And within the scope of streams for which draw is happening, Master and PhD graduate stream is the only stream under which you don't require employer support, or else all the other streams require employer support.
Okay, there is one also associated question, Abhishek. It says, does one have to create separate profiles under OINP for different streams?
If you are eligible, yes, I did say that little while back as well. But yes, if you are eligible in different streams, you have to have different profiles because each one of them have their own eligibility criteria. Each one of them have their own specific draws. They have their own point structure as well.
Yeah, please go ahead, Abhishek. I think no similar questions, so I'll come to that later.
Okay, so I'll stop sharing this one, and now we will jump on to the resources for OINP itself.
Abhishek, there is a more generic question. It says that does self-employment count towards Canadian work experience?
It's a good question. I never explored that, did not reach that point, but we can look at the eligibility criteria. Possibly, yes. So this is all I do. Okay, when I have to go to OINP, I'll just type OINP in Google. Okay, the first link that comes up, this is the starting point of everything. And there are, of course, a lot of details that you can find here. But for my purposes, where I go straight away is to choosing the right stream. You can go through the stream selector yourself if you need, but I personally, because I know the criteria mostly, so this is where I go, and this is where you will find all the streams that are listed. So let's start from the start. Foreign worker stream. So right now we are at a point that I'm assuming that all of you have a broad idea of the streams we are talking about, and now we'll talk about the each stream in a little bit more detail. We cannot, of course, within the scope of the session and time, we cannot go through everything, but I'll try to touch upon the most basic parameters. So first parameter around, of course, is the steps to apply, which I just told you about in the flowchart, which we have already seen. Self-employed professionals, whoever that had that question. So this is where it is covered. So they have clearly is eligible under OINP streams, and I don't think it is eligible under any other stream except physicians. Okay, but I won't touch too much upon it because it was one person question. But all I'm trying to tell you is that yes, the information is available if you really want to go, and the immediate answer I can give you is that it is eligible only for physicians and nobody else. I could be right or wrong, but I am not going into super details of that question right now. But you can, like I said, go to OINP foreign worker stream if that is what you're targeting, and go through these eligibility criteria in detail and read in between line. Okay, every word can make a difference. We'll come to this part as well on when you get the ITA. So it has to be a full-time job offer, it has to be a permanent job offer. So full-time, what is the definition of full-time, right? So a lot of the times people are given a part-time permanent position, and yes, it happens for some if you do not understand that. And definition of full-time and part-time for employers can be different from that of a OINP or a IRCC in general, because employers give part-time, because for employers, if they are giving 32 hours per week, they may call it permanent part-time, meaning that full-time definition for them may be 40 hours per week. But if you're getting more than 30 hours per week, even if your position itself says part-time, the OINP mostly will be considering it full-time. That if you are, but your job offer should clearly say that this work person will be working minimum 30 hours a week, 32 hours a week, and is a part-time permanent position. So likely it should work. And then, so they have given both the definitions here very clearly, what is full-time and what is permanent. And then the eligible occupation, it has to be a tier 0, 1, 2, 3 occupation. Anyone in tier 4 or 5 occupation, you don't qualify in international student stream or foreign worker stream. You really have to look for the in-demand skill stream. Then the median wage level. For foreign worker stream, your wage has to be above the median wage. Okay, what does that mean, right? The first question will be, how do I know that my wage is above the median wage? So what you have to do is you have to go to job bank, search wages. That's it. Okay, if you write job bank, search wages in Google, you will find the link straight away. Okay, here all you have to do is put in your title or your knock code. Let's just go by 33102, which is one of the popular knock codes these days. Then you will see that for entire Canada, for different regions, they have set out the wages. So let's just assume someone is working in Kitchener region of Ontario, and if they are, so this is Kitchener Waterloo Berry region. So for these regions, for this particular knock code, they have set the median wage as 23.75. So only if your employer is offering you wage high, equal or higher than this one, is when you are eligible under OINP EOI foreign worker stream. Again, it's just a lot of information, so this session in itself may not be enough, and you will lose everything if you don't go back, because unfortunately, and I understand the reasons for it, because you're not the experts, but people just try and grab information from social media, from these sessions, but they fail to do their own research, which is where this information will vanish. Okay, after 1 week, 2 weeks, it won't make any sense to you, whatever I'm telling you now, unless you spend time. And if it is that important to you, I say spend time rather than purely relying on everybody else, so that at least, if not, even if you are intending to engage an expert, it always helps if you know the basics of what you are entering into. Okay, so again, I implore everyone to go through these resources yourself and see what specifically applies for your case. So in
Abhishek, please post this link in the chat that
absolutely.
everybody
And
can
that's the
check.
reason
Yeah.
I start from the start, that I tell everyone. I mean, these links are available. They just need to show job bank search wage. Okay. And they will find the link. Okay. But I can
Right.
always post the link as well.
Yeah, it will be handy for people actually. Yeah.
But yeah, again,
Thank
I
you.
think I really want to enable the people, not handicap them.
No, no, that's
But
fine because sometimes they might even forget what exactly they have to search. So, in the interest of everybody, I'm asking.
no,
So,
no,
yeah.
I get your point. It's a fine balance.
Mhm.
So see, it's my
Oh.
my my purpose is to give the knowledge best I I can.
Mm-hmm.
There is no
Thank
different
you.
purpose. But again, I
Yeah.
tell everyone, please educate yourself. More you educate yourself is when you can even question the experts, right? That expert is still a human. Someone can still make a mistake. Nobody knows case, but this is your case. Nobody knows your case better than you. So if you are able to apply some logic, some reasoning, because you have researched on it, may hold better for you. Okay. But anyway, let's just come back to it. So this is the wage you will see. So in some cases, you will see that wage has not been decided for the region. Let me pick some awkward no code and see what
There
can.
is a request for 72400. If you could.
Geologist. Let's just pick geologist. You can know specific knock codes. You can watch out. It's just the same link. Okay. It's just as easy. Put the knock code, check your region where it is. Okay. But with this, what I'm trying to tell you is that look at geologist. You will see that for many regions, the wage has not been determined because they don't have enough geologists working there. Okay. So in this case, what will happen is that say you are working in London region as a geologist, but you see there is no median or minimum or any wage for this one. So in that case, you will have to apply the provincial hourly wage, meaning that at that point in time, Ontario median wage will be applied for your purpose. And now that someone told, what is it, Ankur?
It was 72400.
So it is millwright. And then again, say let's just pick Toronto area. That for Toronto area, you go here, Ontario, Toronto region, your wage should be minimum $35 per hour for you to qualify in the stream. Meaning that you say your employer is eligible to support, but you say my wage is only $30 per hour. Okay, so in which case it automatically becomes that you are not eligible for the stream. I mean, you can go ahead and create the profile, but you won't be accepted because your wage is not enough to qualify in this stream. And this way, anyone can put any knock code and check. Like I said, when you don't find it says NA in front of your region and your knock code, in that case, just apply the provincial standard. So let's keep moving forward. So that's with the median wage. And then as we move forward, and then they are very clear on what wages mean. Okay, if you have an annual salary, which sometimes people do, this is up entirely upon your employer to prove that you are absolutely required for the business. Work must be, of course, based out of Ontario, no other place. Applicant requirements. So this is where these are your requirements. That of course, this is when you get the invitation.
Hi, Abhishek.
Who's it?
Jennifer.
Yeah, tell me, Jen.
Okay, so I have a question. So recently, I have done my PSW certificate from NSCC, and after that, I hear that I don't know it's correct or not, that OINP is going to be shut or that is closed very soon. And so my question is, now I recently I'm in Toronto. So if I want to move somewhere with this certificate, what will be the best tactics over here? So
I'll come
and
to
what
that, Jen.
about the
Unfortunately, if I start taking this question now, everyone has these questions. Okay, but I will come back to your
yes.
question. Okay, let me just finish with
Okay.
that and I'll take your question in time. Okay.
And please also let me know that what about the healthcare under the YNP so that I can know like what is where I am right now.
See,
I have
honestly, I
Then
mean,
you,
a lot of people are pursuing healthcare. So I think there will be few members in audience who will resonate with your question. I will try and take it. Okay.
thank
Jen,
you.
it would be better that you choose to write this question in the chat because I'll be keeping a track when once Abhishek gives me a go ahead. We'll surely take your question. And don't worry about that.
Okay, thank you, Uncle.
Abhishek, you also need to, I think, if you could touch upon the specific conditions wherein these median wages are not applicable. Last time when you shared that about that particular thing, I guess,
Yes. We
yeah,
are coming
yeah.
down to it a little bit, but yeah, for all the unionized positions, the median wage is not required. Okay, so that's for that. And people who work in union will know that there are certain unions in Canada, and people who are part of those unions are exempt from the median wage requirement for foreign worker job offer stream. But I mean, like you'll see, right? These are heaps of requirements. I possibly cannot go through everything, so I really touch upon things that are common denominator to most of the people who are in this call. Okay, but
Get that, sure.
you said that right. That yes, that's a quite an important thing that union positions are exempt from median wage. So again, so requirement for this is that one, we looked at the knock code. Second, first we looked at the median wage. Then we need to look at the hours of experience. So you must have completed 3120 hours in past 2 years. For 2 years of experience in past 5 years. This experience can be in Canada or outside Canada, in Ontario, outside Ontario, does not matter. If you have this experience in that specific knock code, you will qualify. If knock code is changing, then the experience will not qualify. Important factor, intention to reside in Ontario. So people who have already studied in Ontario, people who are already living in Ontario, people who have come to Canada and have been living in Ontario ever since, this is a very easy answer for you. It becomes a difficult question or difficult answer if you are in Canada staying outside Ontario. If you are outside Canada, of course, you have to build your ties to. And again, this is a of foreign worker stream, meaning you may not be even in Canada and yet you are eligible for this stream. Okay, so you still need a job offer. You need everything. You need to go through the entire process. But yes, you are eligible, and you have to prove your intention to live in Ontario. So people in Ontario already there, studying here, working here, don't need to worry too much about this question. It's easy to answer. For people outside, you need to take some pain to answer this question. Legal status in Canada. If you are in Canada, it's important, right? Maintained status is counted. Employer requirement. We looked at some employer requirement that $1 million revenue in GTA, $500,000 outside GTA, should be in business for 3 years, should have demonstrated some effort that they have tried to hire, but these are your employer requirements and not your requirements, and how important you are to the business. Full-time requirements, again, reasonable recruitment efforts. Like I said, that there is a series of steps to it which are sort of even common. And then apply without job offer. It's applicable only and only to physicians. Like I was saying, that this is the scoring factor for foreign worker job offer stream, and we'll go through different other streams and you will see each one of them have their own scoring factors. I may have to move a little bit faster for the time. Okay, but since we are at this stream, let's just walk through the entire process at this point in time. Let's change the structure that we laid down in the beginning, so that at least I'm able to share all the information with everyone before 2 p.m. And then after 2 p.m. I'll still keep taking the questions, and whoever has questions and is interested in the answers can stick around. Okay, but there may be people who are attending the session thinking it will end at 2. So let me impart all the information that I can before 2 p.m. So what happens that now you create your profile. Your employer agreed, you agreed, employer sent you the job offer, and then you picked up that job offer, created your profile, and your profile is sitting in the pool. OINP conducts the draws. Okay, so how does OINP conduct the draw? So let's just look at that now. So again, the same process, OINP choosing the right stream. I'll probably post this link too. And then you go through in this one, to look for the draws that happened, you need to scroll a little down and go to invitations to apply. You go here and then you will see all the higher level summary of the draws that happened for the question that what is the cutoff. So the answer for that would be that cutoff for Eastern Ontario region is 63 for these particular for the foreign worker stream. Okay, so it is a draw that was bound for only these specific knock. Again, the same concept, three things: your score for the stream, knock code, and the region. Based on that, yes, this is and that's how OINP conducts the draws. That you will see that they are for region, they are for. So whenever you hear this word targeted draw means they are for specific knock codes, and then you will see the region. Okay, so why I say that? Let's just look at the master graduate draw that happened recently. That it was a general draw. Okay, for master graduate stream, for PhD graduate stream. Literally, you won't see any general draw apart from this in this entire page. Okay, everything will be targeted for a specific region. Targeted for a specific region, meaning that there are a set of knock codes and they are only applicable to these regions. You can very easily find the definition of these regions, but also if you just click inside, go to OINP program page, just scroll down to the specific draw you are looking at, you will know that what all they want to cover when they say a region, what all areas are covered, and how are these areas defined. You will get to know when you are creating your profile, because as part of profile creation, you have to select which region your job is in. So you can always determine that using through Google or through your employer or through expert or yourself, that in which region the city you are working in or where your job offer is comes under. Okay, so these are the regions under which if you have a job offer under these knock codes in these regions and your score for foreign worker stream is higher than 63 is when you would have received the invite. And that's how the draws are conducted. Again, like I said, I can keep going on and on, but people who are planning to pursue this, okay, don't have an ITA. What you really need to do is, if I were you, I will just go here and search my knock. Okay, so I'll just go to this page, and these are 2026 draws. You can also go back to 2025 just to look at some trends. Like I said, OINP has been quite random. Okay, so just to make some sense out of all the randomness that is going on, effort is required. Okay, so just Control F. Let's just click to the knock code 33102, and I will see that this knock code was called out 25 times. Okay, now I have to check that for which all draws was it called out. I have to check for which all days it was called out. What was the stream? Okay, so this draw recently targeted Eastern Ontario. Now you say, okay, no, I'm not in Eastern Ontario. I'm in Toronto, like somebody just said, like Jen just said, but she's working as 33102 in Toronto area. So I'll try and see that if there was such a draw for this particular knock code in Toronto region or not. Okay, so I keep just scrolling through, working through, and see this one is still international student stream. Okay, so now I am just moving on a little bit, looking for the other draws that happened for this stream. Okay, this was for Northern Ontario. Oh, so different other regions, no Toronto at this point in time. And we just keep moving and see that if there was something that happened for Toronto as well. So this happened for Southwestern Ontario. So we reached till Hamilton done, but we still did not touch the GTA. And this would be this would be international students. So let's move on to this one. And then finally we see this is excluding GTA. Again, we had a draw, but excluding GTA. So for different other regions like Waterloo, Simcoe, etc., but not GTA. So Central Ontario is what GTA is considered as. 8, same thing, 9. Let's see what was this one. So this one was for Francophone people. Okay, so from what I'm seeing right now, I have not seen any GTA draw for 33102. So to answer, provide now this one you see it's for ready region, meaning it's for some very specific communities. So to answer your question, Jen, at this point in time, I'll just say moving out of Ontario or Toronto area itself within the same province may give you some opportunities. Yes, Ontario is changing the system, but some will be back. And once you start changing the province is when you start taking the risk. Because again, I don't know how much time is left on your work permit, but it's the risk-taking capability. But 33102 is generally in demand, but you have to really research through on how provinces are structuring. Thank you so much. Somebody just corrected me. Maybe I just missed it, but idea is the same, that you keep browsing through this page and see where your knock code is properly falling and when was the draw for your knock. So, but point being that yes, the things are changing. And again, Sammy, I'm getting distracted. Okay, things are changing. So, but what action you take when things are changing? Because if you want to move a province, what I suggest is that the exercise that we are doing for Ontario right now, do the same research for that province, that whether 33102 has been called out for different provinces you are looking at. Do I have a suggestion on it? No, because for me, it's so hard to keep up with all the changes that I focus all my energies on Ontario and ExpressEntry when it comes to the economic PR. Other provinces, I do the applications when somebody comes in, but when it comes to research and suggesting them to move to a certain province, I stay away from it because I'm not keeping up with every other province in terms of where the things are headed. Okay, I follow Ontario much closer, almost on everyday basis. I don't follow other provinces on everyday basis. I may just check on some province once in a while. If some query comes in, I may just check on it. If somebody pays me money to check on it, I may check on it. Okay, but on daily basis, I do not do that. So one, do your own research, or maybe even find some consultant who is local to that province and is closely following the trends that are happening and that part. So, but there is no black and white answer that move to this province and your PR will be guaranteed. Okay, but that's a way that you check for the draws that are happening. Now, the
So
third
what
thing
will
is,
be the best for me, like stay on Ontario or going other
my
province?
suggestion is to stay in, again, depends on your work permit. Stay in Ontario, move outside of GTA if you can. But like someone posted in the chat, right, there was a GTA draw as well. So I don't have any specific idea on where your profile stands and why did you not get the draw. But yes, draw happened even for GTA region for 33102.
I have 2 years still.
Yeah, so exactly, right? It's hardly, we can barely predict 2 months or even 2 weeks the way things are changing. You have 2 years, right? So I cannot predict from what you're suggesting, and rules keep changing. So you may make a move and then rules would have changed for that place. Okay, so not me, not anyone can answer that question, Jan, that what will happen in 2 years' time.
No, like, so what should be my move then? Like,
If you ask my suggestion, outside GTA, within Ontario.
Thank you.
Okay, but that's just a suggestion. Okay.
I got it. No problem, Abhishek. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So that's how the draws are conducted. And of course, you can go through these pages in much more detail for your specific knock code as to how your draws are structured. Now, moving on. So now we know that there is a profile that is created based on the eligibility criteria that we look through. I will talk about international student stream and other eligibility as well, but let's complete this flow first. Okay. So we first understood this type of streams that exist. Then we looked at the eligibility criteria of the foreign worker stream. No, international student does not need median wage, Manjinder. And then there was, but you still need low wage. Okay, not Canada low wage, Ontario low wage, but low wage for your job in that region. So then we talked about the draws. How do they happen for different streams, for different knock codes, for different regions? And then the last part is that everything is set for you and you get the ITA. You get the invitation to apply for PR. What happens after that? So once you get the invitation, the first thing that will happen is you will receive the email, your employer will receive the email. If it is employer supported stream, if it is something like master graduate stream, it will be only you, or if consultant is involved, your consultant and you who receive the email. And then once that is done, you're just sticking to this job offer stream for the employer. Your employer has to submit the job offer, resubmit the job offer in the portal to reaffirm that the job offer is still valid and the wages are updated. So they resubmit the job offer in the portal for that employee who has received the ITA. And in the meantime, so employer has 14 days to do it. You have 17 days to submit your profile, your application. So employer can do it at any point in time and you can do it only once employer has done their part, but you can still continue to work on getting your application ready while employer does their thing. So employer submits the job offer and in the meantime, you start getting your application ready. And for that, you can again find the checklist. It's very easy to find the checklist itself. Following it is a nuanced process, do it carefully, and that's all I can say. I mean, meaning it's not an easy process, okay, and it has to be done carefully, very diligently. You have to spend many hours trying to understand what you have to prove and how you have to prove. But what I can tell you right now is that you can pick up the checklist simply by saying OINP checklists. I think that should work in itself. Okay, OINP document checklist, choose the stream. Let's just stick to foreign worker stream. So you go here, it will tell you the entire. So this is not a checklist, but you have to read through, go through each one of these things and build your own checklist as to what all you are intending to prove. So especially for foreign worker stream, be careful. You have to prove your 2 years of experience properly. So make sure you are following everything and you're simply not relying on YouTube videos or social media to build this checklist for you or ChatGPT. ChatGPT can be wrong many times. Make sure this is the page you are following to build your own checklists for the ITA that you have received. Okay, again, I can post this link as well, but it is quite readily available on the website. So now you have the checklist. Now, based on this checklist, you start building your document. Also, what you need to understand is that there would be certain information that you have to fill in, but I have found that information filling is quite a quick thing. Okay, I sit with client, it takes me barely an hour. Sometimes, yes, you have to sort the job, but it will be really easy if you sort that as part of this, you have to submit your resume. So if as part of your resume, you can sort those out upfront, then filling information will be quite a piece of cake. Okay, so building this resume properly does have a lot of value. So then you fill in the information, you upload your documents, your employer would have already submitted your job offer, and now once everything is ready, you are free to submit your application to OINP. So you will just upload everything. Another important thing, if there is VES involved and you have the ITA.
The question about the resume.
Just wait a second. Sorry. Okay.
All
If
right.
there is VES involved and you have points for that for your highest education, you have to send that VES to OINP as well. Meaning you have to log in into your VES portal, look at your report and add OINP as a receiver, and you will have to pay an additional fees of $50 or something. Does not take more than 10 minutes, but it must be done. Okay. Yes, Rita. I hope it is a relevant question.
Yeah, for the resume, if you get if you're working full time with your employer and you have a part-time job that is different from the no code, can I put it there in the resume?
You should. Please, resumes are disclosure, and even when you are filling information, things are disclosures. Meaning you could be doing multiple jobs, which is allowed on your status, and make sure you declare everything. You do not hide anything.
Oh,
Okay?
even during the
No,
filling of the
it does not impact anything as far as everything is legit. Make sure you declare it.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
There's
hi,
another
Abhishek.
question.
Best question was mine to double check again because I'm not claiming the points for the education. So do I still need to submit that
No,
ECA
only
to
only the things for which you are claiming points. If your VES is not going in your documents, if your VES is not going into documents, if your foreign education
Right.
it is not part of the documents, no, you don't need to submit this OINP thing.
So do I still need to upload?
I mean, really depends on the documents. That's what I said. That if there is a relevance to it, and then you need to upload it. If you're uploading it and VES has a relevance to it, meaning that you could upload just to tell everyone, yes, I have the skills to. I mean, tell OINP, yes, I have skills to do the job. But if there are points associated with your foreign education, you must get the VES done because OINP will not have access to your VES and they will not purely rely on the PDF that you provide them.
Right. Okay, thank you.
And these questions are appreciated because they were directly related to where I was. Okay. All right. So yes, you build your resume, you build your entire checklist based on that. Be diligent about it. Okay. You can get it from ChatGPT, from some social media, from some YouTube, but make sure that you review and make sure that you build your own checklist based on your situation and verify it against this particular page that I'm showing you. Okay. So that's the next step, that you submit your application to OINP and you'll pay the fees. That's the last step, and your application will be with OINP. If things go well, you won't be asked anything. You will see submitted, then it will say that assessment in progress. Then at some point it will say decision in progress. It's taking between 2 and 5 months to process the applications. And if things go well, you will get the nomination. So as part of the nomination, you will receive the nomination itself. But for the streams that are tied to employer, you will also receive something called work permit support letter. Okay, and which is what it said somewhere here. Yes. So you will receive the nomination and you will receive work permit support letter. Based on this, you can apply to extend your work permit if it is expiring. But again, please be mindful, this is a position that is tied to your employer, meaning your work permit support letter, your employer still needs to pay a fee of $230 in a portal, get the EA number, which is is LMIA exempt number, give it to you, give you the proof of payment, and based on that and the work permit support letter, what you will be submitting is a closed work permit. And then whenever that permit is approved, I can tell you that is being approved within 3 weeks. Every single application I've done with work permit support letter is being approved within 3 weeks. It's really quick. I don't know how IRCC functions, but it is what it is. And then once that happens, you have to respect the condition of closed work permit, meaning that from their point till there is decision on your PR application, you can only work for that specific employer, which is one of the very big downside of this entire program, that it is employer tied. At any given point, you lose your job, it can put your PR in jeopardy. Okay, so be very careful and mindful of that fact.
I want to ask a question. For the work experience, you said we have to have 2 years work experience. What if we have 2 years work experience from back home for the foreign skills?
You need 2 years of work experience. Maybe I would have said, or you may have understood differently, but you need 2 years of experience in foreign worker stream.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What if the 2 years work experience is from back home?
It's all allowed if it is the same knock code.
It's allowed, and you now have you get employer that signed the form for you. You said it's allowed. But what if the employer helped you to claim it out 2 years? You've been working for 2 years. You have 2 years experience. Is it allowed?
Sorry, I did not follow the last part of the question.
Okay, you have 2 years work experience from back home.
Yeah.
Your new job employer claimed that you've been working for her for 2 years, but you're a casual worker. Does it count? Like you're a supply. You're not a full-time
casual
worker.
worker counts. All of that experience counts. Okay, your foreign experience counts, your casual worker experience counts, but your job offer has to be permanent. So understand this. Job offer is different from the experience that is counting for that job. Okay, you could have done that. Just let's stick to 33102. You were working as a nurse aide back home, 33102, and you are able to prove your hours. All of that will be counted. Okay, you were working as 33102 as on casual basis. All of that will be counted. But the job offer itself should be that for Rita, we are giving a permanent job offer where she will be given more than 30 hours per week, and that's the agreement that.
Oh, now I get you. It has to be in the letter that we are employing her. She has to work for full-time, permanent. Oh, yeah. Now I get it. Thank you.
No, all good. It was a relevant question. All right, so that's for the foreign worker stream. Let's quickly touch up.
I have a question.
Yes, Abu.
Yeah, regarding report to work, the website says the location of where the applicant, immediate supervisor or manager works, or where you get an assignment. So in my case, I live in city, for example, city X, and my employer is in city Y, and the supervisor sits there. So I work from home. So I get 100% of my assignment from my supervisor. So my employer, when they created EOI, they mentioned my job location as where my supervisor sits, not where I live. So whereas my
little bit awkward because OINP is still not caught on the remote work. But yes, it's the location of your employer which will count. And I suggest everyone that if they can move to that same location, if not, if it is commutable, okay, be around that location. Meaning, I honestly recently had a case where someone has similar case. They have job offer from Windsor. They are working remotely from Toronto. Okay, and my suggestion to them was to move closer to Windsor. Okay.
No, in my case, you can still in the same, for example, Northern Ontario, different cities.
That should be fine. I mean, where you're staying should not hamper as far as it is commutable.
Because my
you'll be all right. Like I said, unfortunately, OINP, unfortunately, IRCC, they have not caught very well on this concept of remote work. IRCC little bit, yes, but OINP, you will not find any mention of remote work. I think so.
So it should be fine. Like if my address.
From what you're suggesting, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Hi, Abhishek.
Hey, just 1 second, Sarabjit. Let me.
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry. Okay, let me.
No problem.
And just to respect everybody else, let me go through in-demand skill, international student stream. Let me just complete what I was saying for the end-to-end process. I'll go to that and then I'll come back to you. Okay. So I know that questions, I really like to take these questions because that's where most of the questions are answered. But also I had this feedback that I take a lot of questions and then there are people who miss on the information, who don't ask questions but were in the session for information and they miss out on the information because I start taking too many questions. That's the reason I'm really trying to impart the information as well because there are, I don't know, at some point 50 people in the session. Okay. So, but I will come to all the questions. Just stay patient and hopefully I'm able to find you when I get to that question. Okay. So now you submit your application. Your application will go through the process. You get the nomination within 2 to 5 months, whenever it is. And then if it is a job employer offer thing, then you can apply for this closed work permit with the support of employer, them paying $230 fees. But you have to keep working with that employer till the end of your PR. Once you get the PR, you can do whatever you want. It's a long drawn out process when it comes from nomination till PR. It is taking 1.5 years or something. I have a file from October. I've still not received even the AOR for that file. So it is a long process, unfortunately. Now coming back to the other stream. So that's the end-to-end process when it comes to OINP. And like I said in the beginning, your application must be made in a non-express entry portal for OINP with this job offer. For people who got the invitation in say master graduate stream, which is not tied to any employer, you won't get any work permit support later. You need to wait for your AOR, before which you can apply for open work permit. Of course, you can take some chances. If your work permit is expiring, make early application, explaining your situation, and hopefully IRCC will take cognizance of that fact. But nothing is written on stone for that. You can apply for open work permit only after AOR. That's the rule. Okay, and AOR can take many months. So we're going through. So that's the end-to-end process for any and all streams. Okay, where things change is the eligibility requirement. So like we saw that for foreign worker stream, you need 2 years of experience, wage in the median. Okay, for international student stream, you must have passed from one of these institutions in past 2 years. Okay, so they are not just Ontario institutions, they are outside as well. So make sure that your institution is part of this list first thing. Okay, if it is not part of this list, you are not eligible for this stream. And then it must be within 2 years of completion of your education that you are eligible to apply in this stream. The second important thing under this one is employer requirements. They are all the same. The other thing, major thing, is the wage requirement. So for this stream, your wage, like I said in between as well, to answer I think Manjinder's question, that your wage must be on the low side of it. Okay, now low wage does not mean the Ontario low wage. Low wage means low wage for that particular employment in your region, meaning that, I don't know, I think the current Ontario low wage is $18. Maybe someone can correct me, but point is that that's not what you're looking for. What you're looking for, that if you are a millwright working in London region, your wage must be $24 per hour. If it is $20 per hour, you do not qualify in international student job offer stream. So for that particular knock code, for that particular region, you must meet the low wage requirements. That's the requirement of the foreign worker job offer stream. There is no requirement with regards to amount of experience. In this, you may just starting out with the employer, and you can still apply in this stream as far as you meet all the other eligibility criteria. So that's one of the bigger differences between foreign worker and international student. Touching upon the last thing, which is again, we can talk about master graduate stream, but for these guys, requirement is much simpler, that you must have graduated from one of these universities within past 2 years. These universities in past 2 years, and you are eligible for master graduate stream or PhD graduate stream. That's the only requirement in this particular stream. Yes, they did a knock drop, but it still is not an employer knock drop. It basically meant that you should be working in these knock jobs for you to be selected. And then the last stream is in-demand skill stream. So in-demand skill stream is again specific to set of these knock codes. Okay, these are all tier 4 and 5 knock codes. So if your tier 4 knock code or tier 5 knock code falls under these knock codes, then yes, you can possibly qualify in-demand skills. What are the other two major requirement for this particular stream is, one, you must have been employed in that same knock code for 9 months in past 5 years. Okay, so that's one of the mandatory requirements. The second mandatory requirement is that your wage level must be higher than the median wage, meaning say you are working as a home support worker in, let's just pick up again Kitchener region. Okay, so I'll just go here, I will search home support or home care worker, it's the same, and then I'll go to the Ontario Kitchener region, and then your wage must be higher than 2260. If your home support employer is qualifying and your wage is above 2260, then yes, you are eligible to put your job offer, your profile under the foreign worker in demand skills. Okay, and that's how you meet the eligibility requirement. And with that, I think I'm done with the information I had to impart. But again, few words before I go to the question, and people can leave if they want to now, that make sure it was a lot of information applying to 4 different streams. You have to pick which you are eligible for. Usually people are only eligible for a single stream. In some rare cases with their foreign experience, they can be eligible in multiple streams as well, but mostly they are eligible in a single stream. Like master graduate stream will automatically be eligible for international student stream if they have the right employer support. Okay, so there are cases where multiple streams can apply, but like I said, usually 1 at most 2 streams is where you will qualify. So make sure that you are applying what is relevant to your case and not confused with other streams. That is utmost importance, because that's how you are closing down on things that you really really need to focus on and understand. So once you do that is when you now need to dig deep into the Ontario website, into the wage website, into the checklists, and make sure that you are building this entire plan for yourself, into the draws, that as to how are the draws structured, get your employer support, and which is where you can hopefully qualify. All right, Ankur, I am done with the information. I am very happy to take all the questions now.